Let's get real for a moment. You literally just validated that last video. Less than 20 words, and you only demonstrated you don't know. You know what I mean? You are literally the epitome of what I talk about when I say the left is poorly educated but totally indoctrinated. Now, before you roll your eyes or start thinking I'm just another person throwing shade at the other side of the aisle, let me clarify. Education isn't just about memorizing dates or formulas, it's about critical thinking. It's about questioning what we hear and challenging our own beliefs. Yet, too often, we see people like you who've been swept up in a tidal wave of ideology without even bothering to ask, wait a minute, does this make sense? Think of it like this. Imagine you're walking through a beautiful forest filled with tall trees and vibrant flowers, but instead of enjoying the scenery or understanding its ecosystem, you just follow the path laid out by someone else, blindly marching forward because that's what everybody else is doing. How many times have we seen folks like you parrot ideas without really digesting them? It's as if they've traded their ability to think independently for a shiny badge that says, I belong. Let me ask you this. How many of you have engaged in a discussion with someone who was so convinced of their viewpoint that no amount of evidence could sway them? It's infuriating. It's like trying to convince someone that water is wet when they insist it's dry simply because that's what they've been told. And here lies my point. Indoctrination can feel comforting. It can provide community and validation. But at what cost? History is littered with examples where blind loyalty to ideology led societies down dark paths. Think about it. Nazi Germany didn't rise overnight. It was built on years of propaganda that twisted education into something unrecognizable. If your ideas can't stand up to scrutiny, you're not on the right side. 2, most likely you're wrong. Let's take a moment to consider some prominent voices in this conversation. Voices that should inspire us but instead raise alarms. Robert Reich recently suggested that global regulators should rein in individuals like Elon Musk for sharing what he calls lies and hate. Now let me ask you, who gets to decide what constitute lies? Isn't it chilling when we allow government power to dictate who can speak and who can be silenced? This isn't just about Musk. This is about all of us. Today it's him. Tomorrow it could be anyone, perhaps even you. And then there's AOC. She talks about needing to rein in our media environment. On the surface, her comments seem valid. Misinformation is indeed rampant today, but her approach raises red flags. By labeling dissenting voices as mere purveyors of falsehoods, she aligns herself with those who would rather control dialogue than encourage healthy debate. This mindset echoes through history when authoritarian regimes have stifled conversation under the guise of protecting citizens from dangerous ideas. Now, critics may argue these calls for regulation stem from genuine concern over misinformation. And sure, misinformation can have real consequences. But let's not forget how quickly well-intentioned regulations devolve into outright censorship. We can't afford to ignore the slippery slope here because history teaches us valuable lessons. Look around at what's happening globally from Brazil to Canada and even within our closest allies like the United Kingdom. We see an alarming trend emerging. Governments claiming they're protecting citizens from harmful information while quietly closing off access to diverse perspectives. This isn't just an American issue. It's a global challenge that threatens our very freedoms. So how do we combat this encroachment on free speech? First and foremost, we have to stand firm in defending our right to express diverse viewpoints, even those we find uncomfortable or disagreeable. Remember what Voltaire famously said, I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. Let's embody that spirit. That doesn't mean you get to groom and castrate kids. That doesn't mean you get to dictate how I live my life because you believe the cow farts are making the earth warmer. That's freedom. All you did was prove you're an idiot.